Tonight on Top Shelf Sports, the football team continues to dominate on the gridiron, but will that continue when Toledo rolls into town for the biggest game of the year? Volleyball's Alexis Gonzalez joins us to talk about the team's season heading into tournament play. And the women's and men's basketball teams have finally gotten underway. We'll tell you what to expect from them. All that and more coming up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our fourth installment of Top Shelf Sports. I am Eli Gehn.
And I am Paul Ferfecki. And hey, Eli, man, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. It's been about a month, and
Long time.
but we do have a lot of NIU sports to cover. So let's get started with a little road football action with that awesome football team.
Let's go.
First road game, NIU was at Akron, and this play right here by Jordan Lynch pretty much summed it up. Running over that safety, NIU went on to beat Akron in that game. We'll get the box score soon. The next weekend, NIU went to Kalamazoo to play Western Michigan. It was an offensive battle, but the Huskies would come out on top against the Broncos. Tommy Lewis had a nice grab there. The defense, they held their own as well, especially in the second half. They got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they would finish strong. Now here's the box score from the Akron game. 37-7 was the final. Lynch had another huge game offensively, Paul. 4 total touchdowns in this game, and 131 yards on the ground. Moore had a good game as well. The Huskies won that offensive battle against the Broncos 48-34. The game, as I mentioned, was pretty close, but NIU was able to pull it out to get their 8th consecutive win on the season. Take it away, Paul.
And NIU would come back home against UMass as 35-point favorites, largest spread margin in the country. And the Huskies would nearly double that margin of victory. Everyone thought Lynch would dominate a winless team, and guess what? He did.
Yeah.
Right here, it seems like we see this at least once a game. Breaks the big tackle. He's gone down up the sideline. This would go for 57 yards and a touchdown. And hey, it seems like everyone on the offense is scoring. Lynch, Martell Moore, like
Harris,
three, four running backs, you know. Heck, we could have probably scored if we wanted to.
Probably. You know what? I bet I could have, definitely.
But hey, it's not the offense. It's a deep. Yeah, I wish I could. The defense stood their ground too, allowing 267 yards total offense, recording 4 sacks, shutting out the Minutemen. Huskies would go on to blow out UMass 63-0. Let's take a look at the box score. Lynch, 3 total touchdowns, 191 yards passing, 157 on the ground. Great game. And Tommy Lee Lewis, decent game, 86 yards receiving. Huskies, 9 wins in a row, still undefeated in the MAC. And with that win, Huskies now have 20 straight home wins behind only the LSU Tigers, who took on Alabama at home. And LSU's 25-game home win streak was on the line right here. A.J. McCarron dumps the screen to A.J. Weldon. 28 yards in the end zone, knocking off the Tigers. 24-17. That ended the Death Valley winning streak.
It's a big game.
Huge game.
Top
5. It's huge for NIU. And you know what? NIU now holds the longest home winning streak in the country when it comes to the FBS, but it's going to get much harder to keep that home streak going when the Toledo Rockets come to town.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if you guys remember last year when these two played on ESPN, it was a barn burner.
Great game.
63-60. 123 total points of offense between these two teams. NIU actually got the game-winning touchdown with 19 seconds left when Chandler Harnish completed the pass to Martell Moore. Now Toledo, they took the road last week. Actually, no, they were playing at home, weren't they? Yeah, they were at home. They were playing last Tuesday against Ball State to try to keep that record going. And so the winner of tonight's game is going to be representing the MAC West. But first, let's get to see how Toledo lost to Ball State at the end of the week last week, beginning of the week. Pick it up late first quarter. Ball State already had 7-0. They will add to that. 25-yard touchdown pass from Keith Wenning to Connor Ryan. 14-0 Ball State. First play of the fourth quarter. 24-20 Ball State now, but David Fluellen. It reminds me, he makes defenses sick. Gives them the flu. Man. Gets in for the 16-yard touchdown here, giving the Rockets the lead. He had 200 yards on the night. Tie game, late fourth. Jawan Edwards takes it 15 yards to the house. Touchdown Cardinals. They would go on to squeak by with a 34-27 victory over Toledo. Big win. And now with that game over, this sets, as you said, the biggest game on NIU's schedule.
Huge game.
Now, the winner of this game will represent the West Division in the MAC championship, so whoever pulls it off is good to go.
You know, that's right, Eli. And you know what? Coach Dave Dorn knows it just isn't just a regular game.
Definitely not.
Definitely.
I want to beat Toledo because they're the team that stands in our way. And, you know, I don't look at them as a team that I have bad blood or ill will towards. You know, we had a great game with them last year. We recruit hard against each other. We're going to play hard against each other. And, you know, but they're the team that's in our way, and we got to do everything we can to come out of it with a W.
You know, and the win is the most important thing here. And even though Toledo did lose to a very good Ball State team, the Huskies know that the Rockets are always a tough team.
Always a tough team. It's a rivalry game.
You know, Toledo, it's still they still control their own destiny. You know, they win, they go to the MAC West. You know, they win the MAC West and they go to the MAC championship. So they're going to be, you know, they're still going to have that fight and that hunger in them, just like we are. And it's a rivalry game. So
now. Also in that press conference, head coach Dave Dorn was talking about how important it is for the fans to get to this game. It's senior night for the Huskies. They have all the four-year starters there. They're the most winningest players in NIU history. So he was talking about how important it was to get the fans out to Husky Stadium for the blackout for such a big game that's on, you know, the national television against Toledo.
Yeah, you know, NIU's attendance has been, you know, they've been a good team, but the attendance is just disappointing this year. Even for like homecoming games, all the games against good teams, Kansas. The fans just aren't coming out, you know, and they need to stay for this game, support the Huskies, and hey, there's going to be some former Huskies who are in the NFL right now showing up at the game.
Yeah,
so
there's going to be 13 of them. 13 NFL players or previous NFL players that played for NIU will be at this game. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get to talk to them tonight at the game to get you guys caught up with those guys. So NIU Toledo, you know, it's going to be a good game. You know,
but hey, enough about football. We have a special guest in the station tonight, don't we, Eli?
Oh, yes. Alexis Gonzalez from the volleyball team is here. Yeah.
She's
here in the studio
right
now. You don't believe us? Stick around and tune in for it.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
And we move on to some volleyball. We started 3 weeks ago where the Huskies welcomed Eastern Michigan to the Convocation Center. And despite having the advantage in kills and digs, the Huskies would lose to the Eagles 3-1. Megan Romo led NIU with 16 kills, and Alexis Gonzalez had 41 assists in this Huskies loss.
But the next day, though, NIU took on Central Michigan at home, and this game would be a little bit of a different story. NIU would sweep the Chippewas 3-0, and this win would give Coach Ray Gooden his 200th career win. Congratulations to him. Sarah Angelos and Roddy both had a team-high 10 kills for the Huskies, and Gonzalez had 29 assists.
And the next week, NIU would take to the road for 3 straight road games. First up at Toledo, where the Huskies would beat the Rockets 3-1. Megan Romo led the Huskies with 14 kills. Mary Kurdish had 11 kills, 8 blocks. Great game. And Alexis Gonzalez, again, 31 assists.
And then 2 days later, NIU traveled to Ball State to take on the Cardinals. This time, the Huskies only needed 3 sets instead of 4 to win the game as they swept Ball State. Romo, Kurish, and Roddy all had double-digit kills for the Huskies, and Gonzalez tossed in 45 assists.
The Huskies' luck would run out, though, against Western Michigan as they couldn't keep up their hot streak against the Broncos, dropping the game 3-1. Amber Walker led the team with 24 digs, and Mackenzie Rodney 15 kills for NIU.
And finally, NIU would return for their season finale against Bowling Green. It was senior night, and the Huskies made sure their seniors went home happy as they beat the Falcons 3-1. NIU had 4 players in double-digit kills, Gonzalez with 48 assists. Now, next for the NIU Huskies is the MAC tournament, where they are the 4th seed taking on the 5th-seeded Akron Zips. Now, NIU has been to the last 2 MAC tourney championships, but received the short end of the stick in those games.
Yep.
So this team is a little bit different this year, so maybe a 3rd time's a charm for the Huskies heading into this year's tournament.
In the last 2 years, we've kind of learned a couple lessons going into that last game, and unfortunately not coming out with the result we wanted to. But I think my freshman year, we kind of learned that we have to show up in every game. Like, we can't take it for granted. And then last year, we learned we have to bring a lot of energy, especially in the MAC tournament championship. So hopefully we'll be playing on Sunday, so we'll be able to learn, keep those lessons in our back of our head and go for it.
I think we're a much better team. I think we work really hard for each other. We play really hard for each other. We might not have a star, but the star right now is our team. And I think our team is trying to do their best to help each other out. And with that, it gives us more opportunities and more people to show their talent, sort of like just one person.
Now, as Coach Gooden was saying right there, last year they had a star in Lauren Wilsinski.
Yep.
This team, obviously a little bit different. He said they're the stars, the entire team. So they've had some new girls that have been coming in. They've had a lot of girls that left from previous teams to transferring and other reasons. And one of those new girls to the team this year, she's been huge for them. A setter, freshman Alexis Gonzalez she comes from a bloodline of a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But it's not volleyball. But it is a sport that she's played before. Check it out.
Alexis Gonzalez has started her NIU volleyball career, and she plays arguably the most important role on the team. She is a setter, the quarterback of the front line, positioning her attackers and setting them up for the kill. So why have a freshman take on such a big leadership role?
I think it's everything that she is capable of doing, and everything we talk about she's capable of doing, you know? So I thought it was awesome for her to step in and do some positive things right away. I think our group has accepted her really well, and I think we've, been able to make good steps throughout our season.
And with that leadership comes a family legacy. But for Alexis, volleyball wasn't something that was in her family legacy bloodline. Her father, Francisco Gonzalez, was a professional tennis player in the 1970s and 80s. He ranked as high as 34th in the world in singles and 24th in doubles. And it was a sport that Alexis got involved with when she was a little girl.
But yeah, my dad got me started in tennis when I was 2, because he played on the Pro Tour for about 13 years. And so that was just kind of a thing that we always did. And I played that competitively, and I didn't start playing volleyball until 6th grade.
And she continued to play volleyball throughout high school, along with playing the game of tennis and even picking up the game of badminton. A 3-sport athlete who followed the passion of playing volleyball, a game she is playing under the net with the help of the game her father played over the net.
So I know that without tennis, going to volleyball probably would have never happened, but yeah, volleyball definitely just has I have a greater love for it. As I started learning more about the game and the aspects and the little subtle things about it, I started to kind of gain more interest in that than tennis. I mean, I still love tennis and I still love playing that, but volleyball just once I started playing it, I just couldn't get enough of it.
And it's a game she won't get enough of for at least 3 more seasons at NIU. From DeKalb, Eli Gehn, Top Shelf Sports.
And with us right now is Alexis Gonzalez. Alexis, thank you for taking the time to come in to interview with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Alexis, can you just talk about a little bit what was it like for you to come to DeKalb, and how much did you actually know about the program before you came here?
Well, I got a letter from Ray at a volleyball tournament in Anaheim, and I'm going to be honest, I'd never heard of the Northern Illinois University before. And so I came out here on a 1-day trip for my official, and already I was taken away by the campus and the program. And I did some research and I found out that they were MAC champs and they had a great program. And when I came here, Ray was describing how they needed a setter to come in right away, and so I felt that was me, and I took the opportunity and I came to DeKalb.
Can you talk about what you like about Ray the most as your coach?
His passion for the game. I mean, if you see him at our games, people say that they enjoy watching him more than us because he's just so into it and he is so smart. He is calling out plays before the team even runs them. So, I mean, it's just great having him as a coach. I mean, I'm learning a lot, and it's only my first season, so I can't wait for the next 3 years. Okay, well, now you have your first full season under your belt. What's changed from the beginning of the season to now, maybe as a person and even as a player? In the beginning of the season, coming in, I didn't really know what to expect. College ball, it's a lot different from club and high school that I've been playing. And I knew that as a setter, I would have to kind of learn things quickly, faster, how different hitters on my team hit. And I knew that it would be kind of difficult, but I kind of took on the challenge. And now as the season's progressed, you start learning your hitters, you start learning all the different plays, what works, what doesn't. And so now it's just helped me become a bigger leader and more of a contribution to the team.
Now, you said that you did some research on the volleyball team, found out they were a good program here. Now, did you kind of expect when you were coming into this season, I'm sure you've read about Lauren Wasinski when she was here the last 2 years. Was it kind of a surprise to you when you found out that she wasn't going to be here, or did you already know before you made the decision to come here that she would be gone?
It was kind of a surprise, but you know, people transfer, so I mean, I didn't kind of really question it. I just, you know, I didn't see her on the roster, and you know, when I came here for preseason, I didn't see her. But you know, you just kind of go with what you know, and so I just kind of went along with it.
Now, in high school, you weren't really good at volleyball, but also tennis and badminton. So why volleyball?
I just love the intensity of volleyball. I mean, it's a fast-paced game, just as tennis and badminton. But you know, tennis and badminton, you're by yourself, unless you're playing doubles. But you know, with volleyball, it's you and 5 other people. It's chaotic, but it's organized chaos. So there's, you know, energy from the crowd, energy from your team. You get a big point, you just yell out like a battle cry, and no one cares because everyone's having like the time of their life. And I just love the feeling of when I play volleyball.
Now, obviously, your dad was a professional tennis player in the 70s and 80s, as we saw, and so obviously he wasn't upset or anything that you chose volleyball. But since you did choose volleyball, is this kind of something you would like to stick with when you get a little bit older, maybe play professionally, nationally, something that you can teach your kids possibly one day?
I mean, it would be great, but you know, volleyball isn't as big as, you know, tennis or, you know, basketball, football, where sports where you can go and play pro in the U.S. If I wanted to play pro, I'd have to go overseas into Europe and play, and so that would be awesome. I mean, it definitely would be a huge challenge and something completely different, you know, more different than coming from California to Illinois, definitely. But yeah, I mean, when I grow up and have kids, I would love to teach them volleyball, kind of make it kind of a family sport as tennis was in mine.
Just real quick, like, all right, so are you thinking about, has the thought come across your mind to even just try to walk on for the women's tennis team at any point in time?
I mean, I know my dad has dropped hints on me, you know, oh, the tennis team, you should try it. But I don't know. It's kind of been in the back of my mind, but I think I just kind of want to stick with volleyball, so I can just put all my heart and soul into that and just try and get, you know, as best as I can, and just, yeah, stick with volleyball probably.
Okay, coming into the season, what were your expectations for yourself, and have you met them now that the season's over?
Definitely expectation. When I came in, when Ray said they needed a setter to kind of come in and run the show, I definitely wanted to be that setter, and I was able to do that this season. And so I met that goal in that aspect. And then when I came in, you know, hardcore running. I was just, you know, my goal in the beginning of the season was just don't throw up. And so I definitely passed that. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously there are goals, you know, that are long-term goals that I haven't met yet. But for this season, I'd say I've met my expectations.
All right, so obviously Lauren was only here for 2 years. You're done with your first year, second year next year. Have you thought about possibly transferring to a bigger school if you needed to?
No, I plan on staying here for 4 years. Yeah, I'm loving it here. I couldn't see myself at another school.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, Alexis, again for coming in, taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, while the volleyball season is trying to wrap up, can't say the same thing for the soccer teams. They're already done.
But with men's and women's basketball, Eli, they're just getting started.
Yeah, that's right. Stay tuned. You're watching Top Shelf Sports.
This can't be happening. This can't be happening.
Of course it's not happening. Armored car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me.
Feed the pig.
Welcome back to Top Shelf Sports!
And welcome back, folks. Huskies men's soccer team had a rough start to the season, but Eli, they've picked up their game when it mattered.
Yeah, that's right. Now, ever since MAC play started, the Huskies, they've been awesome, dude. Now, but they have to keep it up, though. They had to keep it up in order to get into the NCAA tournament once again like they did last year. Now, a few weeks ago, they took on Bowling Green at the NIU Soccer Complex. And if you like the defense, then this was the game for you. The Huskies and Falcons ended this game tied 0-0, even after 2 overtime periods. Now, the Huskies, they had their opportunities, a lot of crosses, a lot of shots on goal. They outshot Bowling Green 16-10. NIU goalie Jordan Gotze, he recorded his 5th shutout of the year in this game. Now, that was his 31st in his career. That set an NIU record. The team was 3-8-3 after this game and brought their conference record to 2-1-1.
Yep, and the next week, NIU would take to the road to travel to Evanston, Illinois, taking on the 24th ranked Northwestern Wildcats. Now, I smelled an upset, and there it was. Freshman Charlie Oliver scored 45 seconds in overtime. He ended it quick. First goal of his NIU career. Good way to start a career. Jordan Gotze, like you said, 32nd career shutout, adding on to his NIU school record.
Good for him. Now, NIU, they would a couple days later take on West Virginia and the Mountaineers. They ended up pulling this game off 1-0 at home, and it was because of sophomore Isaac Kana. With only 6 minutes left in regulation, you see him breaking up the field here, rips the ball into the net. It's his 2nd goal of the season, and it was a big one, getting that win. 3rd straight shutout for Gotze, too. 33rd of his career. He just keeps adding to it. He finished with 7 saves.
And the Huskies would take to the road. Their hot streak would end, losing to Western Michigan 2-0. 2 goals in the 78th minute and 86th minute for Western Michigan by Jason Grant. Eric Kelly dropped NIU to 3-2-1 in the MAC, and they needed to win their last game to qualify for the MAC tournament.
Yep, and they would win that game. They beat Buffalo 1-0. Junior Kareem Darbaki scored in the 28th minute. Jordan Gotze had 5 saves and recorded another shutout. What do you know? 34. We're seeing a pattern here. It's a theme. With the victory, NIU qualified for the MAC tournament as the 2nd seed.
And as that 2nd seed, NIU took on West Virginia, again, 2nd time of the season. And hey, worked the first time, why not do it again? The game ended the same way as the first one, NIU winning 1-0. Sophomore Jason Lissette scored the only goal in the 33rd minute, and they would advance to the MAC championship game for the 2nd straight year.
And in that championship game, NIU would take on the nation's #1 team in the Akron Zips. This was a rematch from earlier this season, too. The Huskies fought hard in the first half, but the Zips were just too much to handle in the second half. Akron would win 2-0 behind the goals in the second half in the 73rd and 75th minute. Gotze had 9 saves in this game. Now, NIU, they only had 4 shots. None of those were on goal.
You can't win like that.
Yeah, you can't put the ball in the net. You can't win games, and that unfortunately ended the Huskies season, but they did have a strong push near the end there and for the tournament.
Very impressive.
Now, the women's team, they had a bounce-back year from last season, and they closed out their regular season play with 3 straight games on the road.
Yeah, you know, the team only had 2 wins last year, but they were looking pretty good with a 6-7-2 record heading into those road games. NIU would first head to Kent State to take on the Golden Flashes. Freshman Kate Worthland would score the only goal of the game in the 71st minute, her first ever game-winning goal. Congrats to her. Yeah. Amy Carr has been having a solid year all year, 8 saves. The Huskies would go on to win this one, 1-0.
And next, the Huskies travel to Ohio to take on the Bobcats. NIU outshot Ohio 17-10, but it wasn't enough as the Bobcats would go on to win 1-0. The goal came in the 70th minute off of a misplayed ball by Amy Carr and Ohio's Kat Rogers.
Great name.
Kat playing for the Bobcats. She took advantage of her 7th goal of the season.
And the Huskies would stay in Ohio, but this time they would play the Toledo Rockets, and Toledo took the early lead with the goal in the first half, but NIU would come storming back in the second. Kyra Thompson would score in the 69th minute to tie it up, and then Nicole Gobble would score in the 77th minute to give NIU the lead and the victory 2-1.
And finally, NIU would head to Michigan to take on Central Michigan in the first round of the MAC tournament. NIU goalie Amy Carr was out of the game with an injury, so Deanna Libritz had to step up and play goal. She actually had a great game. She had 8 saves, but it would, obviously wasn't enough as the Chippewas would win 2-0, ending the Huskies' season.
Tough position to be put in for a backup goalie.
It really is. And also in that game, NIU, they couldn't get a shot on goal. So
can't win without getting shots.
Both teams ended the same way. But, from soccer, I'm pretty pumped about the basketball season this year for the Huskies. Even though last year didn't end so well, for both teams. But, still got to look forward to it. Can't wait for them to get back on the hard court, man.
I'm looking forward. And, hey, if you guys want to know more about this year's teams, you have to stay tuned. We'll be right here.
Teasers.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
Welcome back. Now, I don't know about you, Paul, but I miss the squeaking of the sneakers on the hard court.
Yeah, those sounds helped me get to sleep, Eli. And luckily for us, both men's and women's basketball seasons are back, and they're in full swing.
Yes, they are.
And the NIU men's team, we're going to start with them preseason, take on the Aurora Spartans just on I-88. NIU outscored Aurora 47-26 in the first half. 6 Huskies scored in double figures. Keith Gray was one of them. He had a double-double with 10 points and 11 rebounds. He's going to be an important part of the Huskies this year.
Yeah, he should.
NIU cruises to an 89-56 victory over Aurora in their preseason game. Looks like they're ready for the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, and just a few nights after that, Axel Bolin right there.
Oh, man.
He's going to be big too.
He's huge.
But anyway, so the next weekend, NIU had their first regular season game, and it was a disappointment. The following Friday, when they lost to Nebraska Omaha, 77-64, the Mavericks. This year is the Mavericks' first season as a Division I program, so this had to be a hard loss for that young team. Axel Bolin led the team with 11 points, shooting 4 of 5 from the field.
And it wouldn't get any better for the Huskies when they took on the Valparaiso Crusaders. This game was on ESPN.
Yeah.
Started at 7 a.m. Central.
I wasn't up for it.
I don't think the Huskies were either, as they lost 69-46. They only shot 29% from the field. NIU was down 23-17, so they had it close, but Valpo shot nearly 70% in the second half. And like I said, 69-46 Crusaders. Huskies dropped to 0-2 on the season. Axel Bolin, though, 10 points, 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
Another good game.
And the women's team, they had a game against Indiana Wesleyan on Monday night. The Huskies lost to the Wildcats last year during an exhibition game, so that was in their minds. And a defensive first half in which both teams shot under 30% from the field. NIU led 20-17 halfway through, though. But the Huskies, they picked up that rhythm on offense in the second half. Amanda Corral led the way with 12 points, and NIU held on to a close, very close, 45-42 victory. So the girls got off to a good start for 2012, despite the record not really counting. The Huskies then traveled to Iowa City for that first regular season game. There it is.
And yeah, they faced an Iowa team. They received top 25 votes, so you know it was going to be a tough game. NIU would end up losing this one 63-40. They were trailing at one point 34-13 in the first half. So rough game all around.
Yeah.
But one bright point, Satavia Taylor led all NIU scores with 12 points and a career high 11 rebounds. First ever double-double. And the Huskies will continue their preseason WNIT on Saturday against Davidson.
That's all right. So now that we just got a little preview of what they are, what do you expect out of the men's basketball team this year heading forward?
Well, last year they finished with a terrible record of 5-26, and while that's really bad, I don't really see that much improvement from last season. They've picked up a couple of decent freshmen from recruiting, but nothing groundbreaking. Right. But one of the bright points, as we mentioned earlier, is Axel Bolin, who I think is probably the Huskies' best player right now. He's got size, pretty good shooter, but we'll wait and see how the season goes. But I don't see NIU being relevant in the MAC this year. Maybe 6 wins. Maybe they'll get to 6.
Hopefully.
They'll beat 5. But
we'll count on it. And also, they're missing Abdul Nader. He was suspended indefinitely by head coach Mark Montgomery. So it's going to be kind of hard not having him out there on the court, but hopefully he's able to return soon so they can get more talent and experience out there, because this is a young team too. Yeah. Very young team.
Yeah. So. When the coach gets his recruiting class in a couple years, watch out for the Huskies. Yep. But from men's to women's, Eli, what's up with the women's team?
Well, this year, last year they had a good year. They finished just above 500. They ended up going to the 3rd round of the MAC tournament. So there's definitely that experience there. With head coach Kathy Bennett. She's done a great job with the girls over the offseason. She ended up bringing in 3 players that she had when she was at Wisconsin. So the 3 players that she had there are now here, and they're going to be getting playing time. Amanda Corral, 2nd year in now. I think she's going to do a lot better. She had a great freshman year, but the only thing about this team is they're not going to have Claire Jakubisek. She was the leading player for the team last year.
Good player.
So that's a little bit tough for them. But anyway, so hopefully the girls can live up to their potential and squeak out a few more wins and may even make a bigger run into the MAC tournament.
Let's hope
but
so.
Before we wrap up our 4th show of the semester, the wrestling team is up and running for the 2012 season. Little wrestling. Now, NIU, they traveled to Eastern Michigan to participate in the EMU Open a couple of weeks ago. Now, NIU had 13 place winners, and 5 out of 6 freshmen and sophomores finished on the podium. Matt Mogan defeated Nick Proctor of Michigan State 7-0 to take 3rd place at 174 pounds. Jared Torrance was defeated by Danny Miller. He's in the Navy, so it's okay.
Military boys.
4-1, but he would take 4th place in the heavyweight division. And in the freshman-sophomore bracket, freshman Sean Scott would beat Archie Williams of Lincoln College. He doesn't have a picture there. We couldn't find it.
We tried.
He ended up taking 1st place at 197 pounds.
Yeah, good start for the freshman, Sean Scott.
Definitely.
Husky Wrestling had a big day Saturday, not going only 3-0 on the day, but also earning their 500th win in program history. Very big achievement. Round 1, Huskies dominated Tiffin Dragons in a 36-3 victory. Second round, NIU stayed hot and would defeat the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, awesome name, 26-12. And finally,
I love that name.
in the biggest match of the day against a Big Ten opponent, the Huskies would upset the Indiana Hoosiers 19-13. Very nice. Wrestling's next meet will be Saturday at home against 3 teams in the NIU duels.
From wrestling to cross country, some running.
A little
the
running.
NIU cross country team traveled to Grand Island, New York a few weeks ago to run in the MAC championship. NIU would finish 11th out of 12 teams, not very good, totaling 277 points. Senior Courtney Oldenburg finished in 20th place with a time of 22 minutes and 17 seconds. Sophomore Jamie Burr finished in 47th place. And to round out the Huskies' top 3 is Allie Olson, who finished in 69th place with a time of 23 minutes and 24 seconds.
I wish I could run that far without getting tired.
I probably could if I actually went out and tried, but I never really go out that much.
Yeah, I'd rather stay here and do this.
Yes, me too.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah, this is a lot easier, a lot more fun too. We sweat a lot after these shows.
Yeah, these suits kind of heavy. Seats are kind of heavy.
But anyway, that's all we got for you guys for now, but we're not done with Top Shelf for another month.
Hopefully not. So be sure to check out our next show in a couple of weeks to get caught up on the latest Husky sports highlights. Basketball's going to be in full swing. A lot of basketball coming up.
I'm Gehn. That's Ferfecki. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Take care, everybody.